This is the story of Juniata Terrace and our experience working with the community to uncover its identity. Juniata Terrace was in fact built as a company town for workers of the American Viscose Rayon Company in 1923. The town represents a distinctive example of Garden City movement workers' housing that characterized many new American company towns of the early 20th century. As such, we suspected that Juniata Terrace was worth exploring as a window into the significant period in American history. If our suspicions proved correct, we wondered if Juniata Terrace could be a candidate for the National Register of Historic Places.
If nominated to the National Register, the designation would not only recognize Juniata Terrace as a historic district, but also make the community eligible for tax deductions and preservation funds for much-needed structural and landscape improvements. We set out to get to know Juniata Terrace, all the while framing our research and inquiry around the National Register criteria, just in case. Over the past month, we have gotten to know many of the residents of Juniata Terrace, several of whom have lived there for their entire lives. We approached this historical investigation as landscape designers, keeping in mind that public history must emphasize public process and public memory. We linked public history with landscape and built environment by being creative in the way we carried out the public participation process. According to Dolores Hayden, restoring significant shared meaning for many neglected places first involves claiming the entire cultural landscape, not just its architectural monuments, as an important part of American history. Landscapes are storehouses for social memories because natural features such as hills or harbors, as well as streets, buildings, and patterns of settlement, frame the lives of many people and often outlast many lifetimes.
First, longtime residents invited us into their homes and told us stories of what it was like to grow up at Juniata Terrace, what made it special, and how it had changed over time. Word spread about our work throughout the community quickly. We coordinated a community history day with the borough office in which residents brought photos, artifacts, and memorabilia for us to archive. The interactive town display that we created was set up to collect spatial memories. The display triggered memories and stories associated with place the way landscape does. Panoramic photos of each block in Juniata Terrace were taken, stitched together in Photoshop, and printed to fit 8-foot-long tables in the Juniata Terrace Borough Community Room. The printed town was adhered to foam core and placed upright on the tables, effectively recreating a miniature Juniata Terrace for people to walk through, sit down in front of, and write down stories associated with each portion of town. On the day of the event, it worked. People loved to see their town in miniature, and names and associations started to appear on paper in front of the houses. Stories were told, memories were conveyed, many photographs were archived, and the event was even covered on WPSU as a feature story. However, something really special happened. Residents who came to share their history with us began to share and relive it with one another. The event served as a catalyst for reconnection of relationships.
While people were happy to share their memories with us in conversation, or even take the time to write pages of stories at home just for us. They didn't feel comfortable sharing such private memories so publicly. It was difficult for them to write their personal stories in their own hand for everyone to read.
George Kubler once described the historian's craft as delineating the shape of time. In other words, getting to know a community's identity, asking them to convey memory using a new approach, and encouraging them to see their community in a new light. This project has helped residents to uncover the narratives of cultural identity embedded in the historic landscape. With this newfound recognition and package of historical documentation, we hope to continue working with the community to facilitate the process of nomination to the National Register of Historic Places.
Dolores Hayden writes, "Identity is intimately tied to memory, both our personal memories, where we have come from and where we have dwelt, and the collective or social memories interconnected with the histories of our families, neighbors, and fellow workers." In the end, we believe that Juniata Terrace's public participation in Community History Day revealed the collective history and essence of Juniata Terrace in unprecedented form.